Okay, so this is the the morning news, and so I was just realizing a few things. I thought I would share them with you. And today, what I've been realizing is, and thinking and looking at is like understanding what my government has taught me over these many years, and what I've learned about myself, from the government and from other authorities, what we call the establishment, the people who speak with authority and power. And so I just want to kind of, in case you miss something or need information, I just wanted to kind of share that with you. And so here are some of the things that I've learned from my government. I've learned that we are a free people and we love democracy. I'm an American, obviously, and we are a good country. We are a good country, and we've done many, many good things. And we always take the moral high road. We don't. We're not looking to conquer, or we're altruistic in our basic way of things. We help others, and by golly, that's who we are. And also, we ourselves, we're a good people, and we're loyal and we're brave, and we are people who um, will 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 sacrifice when we're young. We'll willingly sacrifice our lives um, for our country, so that others can have the great benefits that we have. And also, and when we get older, we respect our country, our flag, our presidents, our leaders, and as well we should. And we will, um, and we, will pay, without any, reservations. We're happy to pay our taxes. And I've also learned from our various presidents that although things have been tough and perhaps we have been taxed a lot, the thing is, taxes apparently will be less. The government will see to it, whoever's running the government will see to it that they reduce, the burden of the government on us, and so that we'll have to pay less taxes. Um, Things have shifted a bit, because I've been here, several decades, and so, naturally things evolve, as they say. Everything's always evolving, apparently, and so we've gone through different kinds of things, and so at first um, let's see, where was I? Oh my gosh, I can't think where I was. Oh yeah, when I was young, I learned that if you would just work hard, it was important. It's important to work hard, and you should work hard and be good, and if you would work hard and persist, not give up, you could have a good life, and you could your dreams. You could have like your dream life. You could you could do that, and that's all you had to do. And then later, I learned that you could actually do anything. I mean, if you would just put your effort to it, there was nothing you couldn't do. Then there was a period where I learned that actually, if you would use your mind, and you could like make your mind like be positive and so you could think positive thoughts and direct things, and you could actually change reality by being real positive, and you could make things happen. You could think a thought, intentionally, and it would actually that would actually come to pass. Later, though, I learned the kind of thing about working hard kind of got, you didn't have to work that hard. It kind of changed. What you had to do was, you had to do, it didn't matter what you did as long as it was, kind of drew attention and was kind of crazy and out there and stuff and different. And, you wore strange clothes and you sang in a funny way. Then you could become famous, and then you would have money, and then you could have a happy life that way. Um, and I learned that, and then lately I've been learning a lot about how really the thing is you need to be more educated. If you want to have, if you want to get it, if you want to be able to work hard and do all these things, then really what you need is you need a lot of education. And even if you're 80 or 90, you should still go back to school. And sure, it's going to put you in debt, but that's okay because you'll make so much more money after you educate yourself. And really, you owe it to you. Really, if you're a patriot, a person who loves their country, you should you should you should educate yourself more. And there are all kinds of subjects: business, you know, engineering, chemistry, um, things like that. Particularly business. Educate yourself in how to actually make money. Things like that. And also, along that whole period of time, I learned that, at first when I was a child, I learned that there was this, there was God. There was definitely God. And then, and so God was in charge of everything. And, if you made mistakes, you were in big trouble with God, this God being. And mainly the way you could find out about God was through these certain books that there were. In our case, they call it the Bible. And in the Bible, the thing about the Bible was it became more and more, kind of a major trend or theme. That the thing about what was written in the Bible was that you should take it literally. In other words, it's like whatever you read in there, you should take it as being, literally true. I mean, it was there was no apparently kind of symbolism or kind of, maybe it meant this and that. It meant what it meant and said what it said, so it was literal. And then later, I found out, I learned from authorities and everything else that actually, no, that wasn't it. That there wasn't a God, and so apparently, but there was something. It was kind of like a God, but it was like a scientific God. It was a little guy called, I call him Evo, but people say evolution. That's how the universe was accidentally formed, and but then by the logic of how chance works. The most amazing things happened, and so here we are, and it's all because of this little guy, Evo, I call him. Evo has figured everything out, and kind of an animal type idea that the best would survive and the rest weren't worth much, and that kind of thing. And I've learned other things. Lately I've been learning that actually we don't have much longer. We're going to become kind of material objects. So we'll have a human body, but actually what will be running that human body will basically be, and there may even be like lots of metal and different kinds of man-made things inside of us that run us so much better than we can run now. And then, there were other kind of trends I learned. I learned that, when I was young, I learned that America was beautiful, and and there are a great many places to visit. And the theme here has always been that you would work hard most of your life, and when you got old, you could travel. I mean, you could retire, you could stop working because you worked so hard that you've been able to accumulate enough extra stuff and money to support yourself through the rest of your life. So you could then, travel to other countries and, perhaps spread your values there or something like that. And so let's see now, where was I? Let's see, enough of that. I can't think of anything else there. Oh yeah, so I learned that America was beautiful, and there were many places to go, and then after not too long after, I started learning that you should be very careful not to throw trash out of your car window when you were traveling, and you should kind of try to keep things kind of cleaned up, and so that everybody else could enjoy the beautiful country, and and I learned that of course, in that process, there were bad people in other places that we were trying to save the world from, and stuff like that. And then I started to learn that I thought I was learning that, gosh, because of the activity of man, that apparently we were kind of making a kind of a mess on the earth, which of course that's always been the case, but it never really been important. I mean, you made a little mess, so what. But now I learned that, well, no, we were making a pretty good sized mess. And we were actually kind of getting ourselves into trouble um, because of things that we were doing, and that were affecting everyone, even all over the world. And so, but then I learned that maybe that wasn't actually so, because about that time I learned that, well, the thing is, see, it gets hotter and colder here, and the atmosphere of the Earth changes, as everyone knows. And so, just because it goes up and down, hey, don't get crazy. It just happens to be a period where certain things are happening. The atmosphere of the Earth and the condition of the Earth changes over millennium and over many periods of years. And so, just because it's getting hotter, you can't see as far, and there's a lot of junk in the air and things, haze. Um, and things like that. That's just that's just a cycle. So there's nothing to worry about. And the thing is, I think we should just go on and continue what we're doing. And we're growing so fast, and we'll continue. Apparently, then I learned we will continue to grow. There's just no end to it. There's no end to how much we could develop and grow, and things like that. Of course, it's been quite a while I've been here, so there's been changes. Sure, yeah, there's been changes. And, like, for instance, one of the changes that happened was that when I was starting out and I was pretty young, I learned that the people who ran our country and everything were just like the best. I mean, they were like gods. I mean, I don't want to say gods. They were really something. They were marvelous, and they knew so much. They knew so much more than we knew about the world and what was really happening. And you needed to kind of defer to them. You needed to take their word for it. Whatever they thought they said, that was the truth. And they were very busy saving us from a lot of bad people, apparently in other places, and also making sure that our lives were going well, and that we were having making enough money, and for our livelihood, and things like that. And that went on for quite a while. And but then it kind of got to be a little bit difficult to follow that train of thought. And then I started to learn that actually no, they weren't. They didn't know. Actually, they knew almost nothing, and apparently were incapable of acting intelligently, and and were just kind of messing everything up all the, a lot of the time, and we were actually doing some things that weren't good. So that was, kind of a shock, and a little hard for, I mean, you've been going along the one way and thinking this and that, and then you find this out. So that was kind of a change, and then um, you know, I learned different things. I learned that that we're changing. I learned that actually working hard was good, but the main reason that you would work hard was was because of course you already had a nice house and a nice car and two, a couple of children maybe. Um, but why you would work hard is so that you could buy things, because it turned out buying things was the way forward. That people needed to buy stuff, all kinds of things, and that while you were buying things, then it evolved, as they say, and so not only were you buying things, but you could kind of identify, what kind of a person you were, and whether you were a good American or whatever, or, a tasteful American, by kind of identifying with certain kinds of brands that you bought. That was important, and so that would help to define and get us moving in the right direction. Because that it seemed at a certain point here, that was the main thing, that if we would just buy. Now, a question came up when I was starting out. There was a kind of a debate going on at that time about whether or not it was good to borrow money and things from other people to get stuff, because a lot of people wanted to, because they wanted stuff, natural enough. And so a lot of people said, yeah, no, that's good, and other people said, no. For instance, my grandfather told me, he said, he didn't use credit, and he was obviously out of the loop, and he just used cash for things, and I didn't really understand what he meant, but I thought, well, okay, I remember the information, but then later, so then the thing was, but then it became clear that actually, in fact, it got so, it reached a point, it's kind of subsiding a little bit now, but the point was that if you would, you really didn't even exist unless you were in debt. I mean, if you didn't have a credit card, so you could borrow, it was hard to know what to do with you, and you couldn't get things. You couldn't rent an apartment, or you couldn't buy, unless you had a record of being in debt. Then you were good. Particularly if you showed that you were trying to pay off the debt. Not that you paid it off. If you paid it off, that was kind of iffy. But if you hadn't paid it off, but you were paying the charges on it, then you were good. And I've heard things, but I don't want to go into that. There's apparently a reason why they, the ones who know, feel about things. And so that was that. And then another thing that was, kind of a detail, about things that was kind of changed, I got kind of difficult to figure out, was the thing about this other being. And of course, it changed over the years, but at first it was very strong about the other being. There was this other being, and the thing was, but the trouble was, or the thing about it was a little confusing, was what kind of a being was it, And so this other being, it would kind of depend. Like some people in authority would, assert, and there were things in the book about it too, that he was an angry, jealous, kind of wrathful guy, usually a guy, I have to say, sorry, who was really, really big and could just do things. I mean, just, and he would appear in, a flaming bush and things like that, you know, was not very tolerant of mistakes apparently, and you had to be really careful, and and things like that. And you know, there were other people who thought that he was this God was kind of a loving, um, merciful, marvelous God who loved you, and you know, I mean, the whole idea of him getting angry just you know, he would help you, and you know, if you would obey him, and so there were those people, and you know, and then you know, I'll just go further and say there were other people who seemed to think that he was a really rich guy who had owned so many things, owned everything, and had a big gold thing that he made for people, and you know, or I mean, a gold thing. I don't know the Ark of the Covenant. I'm not sure what it was made of, but you know, it's whoa. And there were things, and he built things, and they were built just in a certain way. So many cubits this way, and so many that way. He was very kind of like that. He was very precise and stuff like that. So there were all these different uh, kind of things, and then you know, but there was a difficulty that people had because they couldn't see the guy. So they figured if they couldn't see it, well, it couldn't exist. So if they don't see it, well, then what is it? You know, so they didn't have. That's been kind of the um, and you know, and there was another group of people too. As I'm just reflecting on this, there's another group of people that kind of blamed this guy for stuff. Why didn't he do this? And why, if he was so this and that, then why didn't he do this and this? And you know, and they just got really upset about that, and just couldn't figure that out. So those are some of the changes. Um, so there was like that. Then finally, they just gave up on it. No, he could figure out. You know, people couldn't figure out. So a lot of people, you know, got off onto a whole thing where they said, "Well, you know, um, they just couldn't, didn't want to. They just want to, you know, be left alone, and because you know, of course, one of the things was you were supposed to follow, you know, obey this guy and everything. And there was some stuff in the book, sure, but I mean, um, you didn't know how to do, how would you do it? How would you, how would you do it? Follow the rules in the book, I guess, and that would be obeying, but you know, stuff like that. So you know, there were all these different changes going on, and so and then. Well, that's pretty much about the size of it. I think those are the things that you know been kind of going on in my life and stuff like that. So I was just reflecting on that this morning, what I've learned, you know, uh, and sure, it's you know some of it you can be very sure of. The other things that kind of seem to be in flux. You have to kind of wait and see what will come next, what we'll learn next. Oh yeah, and then I forgot because you know recently too I've been learning things. Just the most recent thing. This is you know the latest news that I've learned. I've learned that you know apparently there are some people in other places, and they're bad people, and they want to hurt us, and they are trying to cause us great harm for no reason. I mean. It's just because they're kind of ill-tempered and don't like the fact, apparently, that we have such a great country. I mean, you know, they're sore losers or something, and so because of this, we we have to form a huge army and to fight these people. It's going to be hard because we're as it turns out, apparently we're kind of in quite a bit in debt ourselves and really basically kind of broke. But the thing is, even so, we have to do this, and we have to have a huge army to fight these people. And the thing is, that's really kind of I have to say it's a little bit troubling, is that apparently they've gotten into our own country. Oh, so they could be here too. So we have to kind of watch out. If we see anything that seems suspicious, we need to report it to the authorities in the government, and then um, also you know, I mean, it's like a war, so we have to give up certain freedoms that we have. I mean, they need to go in and just get these people and not be bothered in any way. So, if they think you're one of them, and if they think you're one of them, they just, you can't be getting a lawyer and stuff like that, and protesting about, having some sort of special treatment just because you're an American citizen, because you could be, you could be one of the bad guys, and so, um, um, well, so then, sure, you have to, you know, give up your rights, and because of the special time. Sure, later, probably one hopes, of course, that we'll get our rights back, and that will be good. Then we can go back to just buying stuff and and supporting our government, and getting into debt and kind of worshiping our government in our country, and putting it first and that kind of thing. So I just wanted to mention that there is this other thing that's kind of the latest thing. But there's good news though, because it turns out that we have so many bright people here, scientists they're called, and they study things and they learn things. That's the ones that discovered that there wasn't a God. I mean, they're so incredibly insightful about everything because they study little tiny things, and it's amazing what they can learn from studying little micro, and they can see, because they built things so they can see better, and so they've looked out into the vast universe. I mean, who of us has done that? You haven't done that. And so they know things like that. Like they looked out there and they found there's big black holes out there sucking everything up. Isn't that incredible? Unfortunately, there's not one too close, so we don't have to concern ourselves with it. But they find out all kinds of things, and you just it's hard. It's amazing what they've learned. And but they're going to save us from whatever trouble, whatever difficulties may be coming up, because um, they're going to find a way to clone us and make us and freeze us so that they can fix us later if we can't do it now, and just a lot of exciting, wonderful things. And meanwhile, they're also improving everything as we speak, making kind of changing things around the basic nature of everything so it'll be better, and corn will grow faster, and fish will get bigger. It's just wonderful, it's the things they're doing, and so we rest our hope in these people who study little tiny things and big things, and think a lot. They think a lot, and so that we trust their thinking. I mean, let's be realistic about it. And so hopefully, I think it's kind of a secret wish of all of us. See, what's going to happen is they're gonna figure out how to travel these incredible distances, and very very fast, and just at the last minute, so to speak. It would probably be a drama. Just as the planet has gotten all dark and screwed up and everything from people making a mess. Why, we'll move to a new house, and we can start the whole process over again, and there'll be so many houses, so many different places we can go. That's what we'll do. We'll just go from one place to another. We'll pollute it, then we'll go to another place, and we get to live on spaceships out in space and everything. Just have metal around us everywhere, and high-tech stuff. I mean, it's going to be exciting. But you'll have to adapt. I mean, if you just I don't know. I mean, like, take a farmer. You enjoy the air and the night sky and the feeling of the earth and the plants and the birds. Everything, and you like to dig in the earth, and not be too bothered by a lot of funny things going on and people who don't work and stuff like that. Well, you might just have to kind of, evolution may take place and eliminate you because it's going to be a new high-tech world, and we're not going to be here. Obviously, I think secretly a lot of us, becoming more and more aware. You can't stay here. I mean, this place is like the water, even the ocean, the oceans, the sun. The atmosphere, the earth. As much as we keep improving it, we still may not. We might be able to. I can't be sure, but unless we can improve it enough in time, we're going to have to move. I mean, that's getting more and more clear. So I just want to say these are the kind of updating. These are the kind of the latest things. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I just want to kind of append something here and say that I don't want to leave people kind of up in the air. That was today's news, but I'm also this series might continue. I hope it does. You can look on my video site and see, or wherever I might be. But the thing is, I'm going to kind of in this series, because I was talking about what I've learned from people in authority and people who have power and positions in our country and so on. But there are other things. There are some things that I've learned for myself. That I've learned, and then there are things that I've learned from something else, which I won't talk about now. But that I will get into. So there's going to be more. There's going to be more of this series, I think, and kind of try to bring the news. A kind of a what share. I want to share what the different things I've learned, over the last pretty good sized period of time, because the different changes and stuff from different points of view, not just authority. Of course, you want to start out with what you've learned from authority, but there are other aspects which I'll be maybe hopefully, God willing, whatever, I will add the odd update. I'll update this as we go along, because we're learning things every day, aren't we? And so perhaps I can go on some more with this. Okay, thank you, and God bless. Hope you learn got something from this. Okay, bye bye.